We welcome Denise Roosendaal of the Puget Sound Christmas Tree Association. Thanks for being with us, Denise.
Hi, Jeff. Nice to be here.
Christmas tree growing seems like a very unique business and one that doesn't come to mind except about 1 month out of the year. Is that true?
Very true. And if you think about it, come February, March, a Christmas tree is the furthest thing from your mind. However, for the 10,000 growers across the nation, we think about it every single day.
Well, you have to, because it is a year-round occupation, isn't it?
Yes, it is. You have different seasons that you go through in the tree farm. You have your cultivating season, your harvesting season, your selling season, things like that. So you really have to plan out, and every season has a purpose.
Now, you quickly slipped in there. How many Christmas tree growers are there in the state of Washington?
Well, I'm not sure about the state of Washington, but I know over the nation there's over 10,000.
Wow. And are those primarily small farms?
Majority of them are smaller farms, chews and cuts, most of them.
Describe what a year in the life of a Christmas tree farmer might be.
Well, number one, it's hard work, and it's a lot of patience and dedication to your land. You have to grow the trees, so you have to make sure that you live through all of the diseases that may come up, the droughts, like we just had the drought season. Now we're having the monsoon season. You have wind, rain. You have animals that come in and take over. Then once your trees get to a certain size, you have to cultivate them. You have to make sure that they're growing in the right shape because you don't want misshaped trees. So each season you have to plan ahead for what you're going to do. So the winter, right after you sell, you want to go out and replant because you want to replenish your crop from what you just sold. Then in the springtime, you get ready to take care of the growing season. In the summertime, you start cutting them, you start shaping them, and then in the fall, you start getting ready to sell them.
Wow. That does sound like a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
What's the typical size of a Christmas tree farm?
I would say anywhere between 6 to 10 feet.
Okay, that's the tallest
right.
trees. How many acres does it take to have a viable crop for a farmer to sustain himself and his family?
Well, you know, to sustain your family, if you're going to use it as an income, you probably need a lot of acreage, and that could be 100 acres to 1,000 acres. A lot of our growers have maybe an acre to 20 acres, maybe 80 acres. Some of the bigger growers have thousands of acres.
Okay.
So for the smaller one, it's more of a hobby, maybe a part-time avocation as far as selling trees for income.
How many Christmas trees can be grown on an acre of land?
You know, that's a good question. And there's a lot of answers to that because it all depends on how far apart you spread your trees. You could have maybe 3,000 trees to an acre, or you could have 2,000, depending on how far apart you want to spread them. How big do they get? Some trees are skinnier than others. Some grow fatter than others. So it all depends on what type of a tree you're growing.
And you're not going to harvest all of them in 1 year, probably.
No, you're not. And if you do that, you're really cutting yourself short because then when you're ready for the next season, you don't have any trees. So you do have to create that rotating crop.
So it takes multiple years to get to a sellable size.
Right, and it could, some people, you know, rotating crop could be 6 to 7 years. You plant every year for 6 or 7 years so that by the time your tree matures maybe at 7 years, your first year of trees are ready to sell, and the ones that you just planted won't be ready for another 7 years, and you can keep cutting trees down every year.
Okay, but you also want to plant some every year so that you would have a sustainable harvest.
Right, so after that, maybe that first year of selling, you might want to go out and replant a tree where a tree was cut down.
Okay. You are president of the Puget Sound Christmas Tree Association. Tell me about that group and what it does.
Well, it's a group that's a nonprofit organization, and we get together to help other growers in the industry to learn about all the things that are coming up for Christmas trees, needle retention, pesticides, pests that are coming in that may damage our crops, how to market our trees, how to keep the real tree in the home versus the artificial tree. We put together programs to learn about the different types of trees that are out there, what makes them grow faster than other ones.
Are there different, breeds of trees in different areas?
There are different species, yes.
Okay, and how does a farmer know which type to plant?
I think it's an independent thought process for each farmer as to what they think will sell the best in their area. You have your typical noble firs, your Douglas firs, your Fraser firs, but you also have some other things that are coming up, like maybe a Nordman fir that's coming up. You've got cork bark, balsam fir, Turkish fir. So it all depends on really what you think is going to be a marketable product in your area.
And they may grow at different speeds?
Yes, they do.
Okay. Emily is going out to the woods, if you will, to talk to a commercial grower. Now, he harvests in volume and sells to retail stores all over the country. How much does this commercial side of the industry affect our economy as opposed to, as you described it, more the hobbyist type tree farm?
Well, that's a good question. And I think the commercial side, you have increased sales, so they affect the economy in bigger numbers because they have more acreage to sustain. So you have bigger farm equipment, more farm labor, supplies that are needed for that farm. So as far as affecting the smaller growers, maybe not so bad if the market can sustain how many trees they cut down to sell to the local retailers. Whereas the chews and cuts, we're counting on people to come to our farms and buy a tree.
Who sets the price?
The individual farmer.
Really? Your association doesn't come up with a price projection or whatever?
No.
Are the costs of Christmas trees to the retail consumers, are they going up this year, do you think?
They might go up just a little bit, and every farmer's going to be different. If it's a small farm, they may want to keep their prices the same as they did last year. Of course, every year things go up as far as, you know, the fuel prices went up, things like that. So if they do go up, it's because the economy has forced an increase in there.
Over the years, there has been, my word, an encroachment from artificial Christmas trees that increasingly look realistic. They may even have a spray on to make them smell like a Christmas tree. What market share does the imitation tree have in the industry?
I can't give you an exact number, but I do know that they have a fair share of the market, and for a while that market share was increasing. However, back in 2004, the National Christmas Tree Association put together an expansion market program to help expand and build on the real tree experience. And they saw tremendous response and success in that. The first year, our Christmas tree sales were up, I think, 15.8%.
Wow.
The next year, 21.1%. So getting back to the public and letting them know why a real tree is better than an artificial one is definitely working out for us.
And why is that?
Well, I think a number of reasons. The real tree, number one, it's a renewable, recyclable product. It smells good. Even though you can spray on a Christmas tree smell, I'm not sure it smells the same. Have you ever smelled a grand fir?
Oh, marvelous.
And doesn't that bring back memories when
Yep.
you were a child, going back out with your kids, the whole family tradition, the experience of being out there and stuff like that? Even working in the fields in the summertime when you're working around the trees and you bend over and you smell that tree, it's like, oh, Christmas in the summertime.
And you get the little sap on your hands. And
exactly. And you smell
have it for 3 or 4 days.
For days and days. And you've got to think, the White House puts in a real Christmas tree. You get people out to your farm, so you have people supporting the local industry. The Real Tree program that we have, Trees for Troops, the Spirit of Foundation, we have scholarships for things that involve the real Christmas tree. And if you think about it, 1 acre of Christmas trees can produce enough oxygen for 18 people.
There's a reason right there.
Now, what about 1 acre of artificial trees? What does that produce?
A lot of litter and waste.
I can't think of anything good right at this moment.
I'm with you.
Good,
Denise,
thank you.
Thanks for being with us, Denise Roosendaal.
Thank you very much, Jeff.
To learn more about our topic today, visit businessexaminer.com/SSBR. You'll find links to more information about all of our guests there. And remember, it's all available on the internet. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you again next time for another installment of the South Sound Business Report.
This has been a production of Clover Park Technical College and CPTC Television. Clover Park Technical College, changing lives, building futures.